Yo, what's going on, y'all?
Happy Tuesday.
Welcome to Fantasy Face Mask to keep it consistent with last week.
Oh, yeah, of course. Fantasy Face Mask.
What's happening, y'all?
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us. No specific topic today. Just an opportunity to talk shop, talk fantasy with the community. I guess we're in that kind of dead zone of the off season where the biggest news of the day is N'Keal Harry getting traded to the Bears. Yeah, I actually didn't see the terms. What were the terms of that deal?
For like a 5th round pick.
Okay, so N'Keal Harry is as.
Yeah, I can pull.
Actually, that's
right
pretty
now.
good for the Patriots.
No, it was. It's a 2024 7th round pick, a 5th round pick.
Oh.
What am I talking about?
Okay, I was about to say Baker Mayfield went for a 5th. That'd be a good return for the Patriots to get N'Keal Harry for a 5th, or to get a 5th for N'Keal Harry. But I guess that's not the case.
So are you in on N'Keal Harry 2022 on the Bears now?
I need to revise
considering their depth chart.
I need to revise my draft plan.
Speaking of which, Nick did go into the tank this past weekend. I did indeed
go in the tank, yeah.
And he put together a 30-plus page document, highly classified for y'all members, that's coming out soon, and it will be available to the general public.
I think in August 1st.
TBD. But that is something that we promised y'all members, so that will be available for you guys very soon. Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably tomorrow. What's going on, Sam?
What's up, Sam? Yeah. I guess might as well start making people aware. The draft plan is officially complete. I feel like I did. Yeah, I feel like I didn't leave too many stones unturned. It was done with care and a lot of hours and a lot of coffee. Pretty comprehensive, short blurbs on, I would say, about 150 different players.
And sometimes not so short, man. I was looking through it, and you, depending on the person, if it warranted it, the player, you went pretty in depth. So much respect.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing this with everybody. Again, the members. What's going on? Sam? Did we already say hi?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm like so sleep. I'm a little delirious. Yeah, the members will receive the draft plan this week, maybe as soon as tomorrow, and everybody else will see it in a couple of weeks. I guess just one little quick sneak peek. There was one player in particular that I was like, I didn't realize I'm in on this guy. I need to be more in on this guy. So it's fun to get this opportunity to when you actually do your research.
Who was that? You got to let us know.
I'll tell you in a second. It's fun to you look at names when you're doing your draft, and it's just like, I don't care about that guy. I don't care about that guy. But then when you're actually like doing the research and typing the words out, it's like, I like this guy. The guy in particular who I had no idea I was as in on as I am, who I don't think made our original conversation about the top 24 or even the top 36 wide receivers, is a guy who can currently be drafted. I think he's 80 picks available into a draft coming off a 100 catch season.
Okay.
But for fair reasons, he did tumble down draft boards because this team acquired a premier wide receiver in the offseason, and they get a stud tight end back fully healthy. I'm talking about Hunter Renfrow. And it's pretty simple. Caught 100 balls last year. Moves down the pecking order a little bit, again, with Waller returning and Adams in the fold, but had a damn good season last year, and we expect this Raiders offense to take a step forward. I mean, in the 8th round, getting a guy, even with Devontae Adams in tow, has 75 catch upside. I need more Hunter Renfrow shares. So,
yeah, he was a very, very good player last year, and if you look at the history of slot receivers of any ethnicity, so I'm not making that comparison there, but slot receivers under
of all walks of life.
Who's the new head coach for the Raiders? He was on the Patriots.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. Under him, you got your Wes Welkers, you got your Julian Edelmans, and the heir apparent to that lineage is Hunter Renfrow. despite the fact that they have a Devontae Adams and a Darren Waller. So you can get a good deal on Hunter Renfrow, and he should put up good numbers this year. Maybe not
I think he will.
A chance to reach the heights that he saw last year, but he will be very consistent.
Yeah, to the point where I identified him as a lower-end wide receiver to target, and somebody who when we were originally doing our top 36 receivers over the course of a few streams, I need to course correct and put him in there firmly. So, it's fun doing that level, that amount of research that I'm excited to share with you guys in the coming days and weeks, because you might find out some things for yourself. And that's the fun part of really diving in. And it's not as much as, you formulate your own plan going into drafts and into any given offseason. But when you really do take a look at each individual name, you might find something out that you didn't originally know. So again, looking forward to sharing that. We will be sure to make that available on the YouTube channel, on our website, in the Discord. So depending on whether you're a member with us, or if you're just a member, or you're just somebody who comes in and hangs out and chills with the community each week, or every now and then, at some point or other, it will be available to everybody.
Yeah, but it really is comprehensive. I was thinking Nick was going to come through and throw y'all 15 pages. No, he doubled up, gave you 30 plus pages of really good content. So shout out to you, bro. What's going on, P. Diddy?
What's up, P. Diddy?
Got our first question in here. Dynasty, full PPR, 2 QB. Who's more valuable, Olave, Pickett, Doxson, or James Cook? I'm guessing that's Dotson, not Doxson, because Doxson isn't playing anymore.
Who's Dot? Oh.
Remember
that guy?
That other, back in the day, a Washington wide receiver, Josh Doxson.
Oh,
former first round pick.
Oh man,
complete bust.
Josh Doxson. Yeah, he unfortunately did not pan out. No. There were a lot of people who were very intrigued by him originally coming out, but unfortunately it never happened. Yeah, Doxson.
Let's hope Dotson doesn't go that way.
No, we hope Jahan Dotson has a better career than Josh Doxson does. But because it's super flex,
it's got to be Pickett.
I'm inclined to say Pickett as a first round pick, although I will say the vibe seems to be, and we haven't hit training camp yet, so this could change. Things change quickly in the NFL. The vibe I have been picking up just on social media is that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the starter for the Steelers week 1.
Yes.
So
and there are questions as to whether or not Pickett is going to play at all this season, and it's something that we have brought up as well. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to give you immediate points, it's Olave.
It's Olave, yeah.
It's not even James Cook, who I like a lot, but he, to me, is really a second-year breakout player.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for the longevity at the most important position in Superflex, in 2 QB leagues, it's Pickett. If you're looking for immediate starter potential, immediate points, it's Olave.
Yeah, agreed. If I had to rank them, Pickett for the long haul, Olave for right now, and then actually, I kind of pigeonhole myself. I put myself in a weird corner right now because I could go either way on any given day with Dotson and James Cook. Cook probably has a better chance to make an impact now. Dotson, we might need a better quarterback in Washington now that Terry McLaurin is locked up there for the next 3 or 4 years. Carson Wentz has not been a quarterback who has supported multiple strong fantasy performances at the wide receiver position for a given season. So Terry McLaurin is, of course, the safe money to be that guy this year. I like Dotson a lot. There are numerous people that are a part of this channel and this community that are fans of Jahan Dotson, and has certainly been a riser throughout the course of this entire offseason between the pre-draft process and the landing spot and the draft capital. Not the landing spot, but definitely the draft capital, going 16th overall. the arrow's pointing up on him. It just might take a little bit of time for him to develop some consistency from a fantasy production perspective. So I guess for the right now, I would lean the slight edge to James Cook, but over the long haul, I would prefer Dotson. Just because running back versus wide receiver.
I'm at the point where I'm almost split on those two.
That's kind of that's on any given day, yeah.
Terry McLaurin getting re-upped there for a pretty decent amount of guaranteed money over the next 3 seasons. 3+ seasons. I know he's older. He probably won't get a contract after this. But Dotson is coming in as a senior.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't early declare. He's coming in after playing 4 years in college. So he is a slightly older prospect. And by the time Terry McLaurin is not projected to be on the team anymore, I mean, you could be looking at a 27-year-old Dotson. So you might be waiting a long time for Dotson to really come into his own. Whereas James Cook really might be ready as soon as next year once Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are most likely off the team. So it's really difficult to say. It is kind of dependent on positional need.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm trying to take my bias as a Bills fan out of this, but I do think that James Cook and Dotson are on a pretty level playing field, and it really is depending on what position you need for your build.
Agreed. And for 2022, at least the immediate future, I'm very high on Olave.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very good chance he steps in and is the 1B, 1A, depending on what happens with Michael Thomas and depending on where Jarvis Landry slots into the pecking order. Yeah,
I think Olave is this year's redraft wide receiver 1 for rookies.
Yes,
this year's
it's really not
redraft
close.
Rookie wide receiver 1 is Olave.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be excellent.
And that's a topic that we are going to get to within the next few days, is a re-ranking of the rookie prospects at this point in the offseason. Because we did go over it pre-draft. We went over it post-draft. But things have changed in the last month and a half, 2 months. I mean, nobody was talking about Olave as maybe the redraft rookie wide receiver 1 up until really recently.
Mm-hmm.
He's flown up the charts. Treylon Burks has tumbled down the charts.
Little bit, yeah.
We weren't high on Drake London initially. He should be ranked really high coming into this year. So we have to kind of reevaluate where we had these rookies with what has happened since the draft in mind. So that is a topic that we are going to address pretty soon. But P. Diddy, your second question there, seems like people are low on CEH. When he plays, he does well for the most part.
Yeah, so he's certainly got some warts. One, there has been some availability issues, like where he has missed time. His usage has been inconsistent, and he seems to get pulled out of the lineup in goal line and short yardage situations.
Or did last year specifically.
Did last year, yeah. So Ronald Jones might get first crack at those opportunities. Now, here's the thing. Ronald Jones is maybe not trying to be rude to Ronald Jones, but maybe the worst compliment that Clyde has played with in this backfield so far. Ronald Jones does not inspire a ton of confidence. Yeah, I mean, he's just a guy.
I think he might be the best. He is just a guy, but he is a very good runner. Not very good. He is an underrated runner of the football. He can't contribute in the pass game. He can't pass block. But what he can do is run with the ball forward. To the point where he was a mid-tier to high-end RB2 for one season with the Bucs.
Yeah.
One season until
year.
his deficiencies were exposed and the coaching staff lost faith in him. But if all he's asked to do is handle goal line work, and be a first and second down spell back. I think he can be underrated. He won't be Darrell Williams. He won't be versatile and used in all phases of the game. But if anything, I think this, on one hand, it might be the best rusher that has shared the backfield with CEH. But it also might guarantee that CEH sees the passing down work, because Ronald Jones can't do that. So there might be a little bit more of a clear delineation of work between the two.
Yes.
But it's hard to figure out what that means for fantasy.
The problem has been, because I think Clyde will operate as their pass catching back. The problem is when presented with the opportunity to give him that role, the Chiefs haven't done it, even though he's been billed as a pass catching running back. The drafting of Clyde at the end of the first round is looking more and more like a boneheaded pick by the Chiefs by the day, because Clyde is not exactly what we expected to be, but also the Chiefs aren't using him the way that they should. So maybe that changes this year. It has to come in the form of throwing him the ball. Like if you want Ronald Jones to take those first and second down carries, that's fine. But he can't, Ronald Jones cannot catch the ball. This has to be where they finally utilize Clyde
just
that way.
in 2020, the RB16 in half PPR. People forget that. Ronald Jones was the RB16 in 2020 in half PPR.
What was the deal with Fournette that year? Did they not... Did he get hurt? Or I know he got cut by Jacksonville and then Tampa signed him before the season. Did they
They also had LaShawn McCoy. There were maturity issues apparently with Leonard Fournette.
That didn't get worked out integrated.
That didn't get worked out until really the beginning of 2021, and then we saw them really dedicate themselves to using him in the manner that we saw. He showed some maturity, according to the beat reporters out of Tampa, bought into the Tom Brady situation, and we saw what happened, to the point where now he's been re-upped by them for, I think, the next 3 years.
Couple years, yeah. I mean, he took over in the playoffs for them for sure. He was their guy in the Super Bowl when they beat the Chiefs. He took over in the playoffs for sure. But
it took a full year for him to really supplant Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
And he was dealing with some injuries there.
So, does Ronald Jones get back to that level?
He was averaging 5.1 yards per carry that season, and over the past 3 seasons, he hasn't had a yards per carry below 4.2, which is what I'm saying. He isn't a bad runner of the football. Mm-hmm. It just depends on how much of a chance he's given to tote the rock. Not going to catch passes, but if he is used as a runner of the football and gets a total of 8 touchdowns like he did in 2020, he's going to surprise some people. Now, what does that mean for CEH?
One great offense to the other.
It muddies the waters for CEH.
Yeah.
Even further.
I mean, the value is obviously as a pass catcher. So if you play half PPR scoring, Clyde is certainly boosted. But if you play standard scoring, Clyde is not draftable. If you play half or full PPR, Clyde could present some good running back depth for you. 80 or so picks into a draft. But I think the last time I saw, his ADP was inching closer to 8, on the other side of 80, maybe into the 70s. So it's a little, it's hard to make an investment on that when he has been so inconsistent. So I like him as an RB4. If he's your RB3, you better, I hope you went running back to start your redraft league. Because I don't want to. He's fine as an RB3 if my 2 running backs are, I don't know, Austin Eckler and Alvin Kamara. I guess then I'm fine with taking a shot on Clyde.
Right.
But other than that, I want him as nothing more than my RB4, and then let's just hope and see. He hasn't delivered upon first round expectations, and on top of it, the Chiefs haven't utilized him the way we expected him to. So it's hard to really throw your weight behind Clyde. It's now or never. If he can't put an RB2 season together this year, he's never going to.
No, not with the targets that are vacated in that offense and the general competition he is dealing with.
Yeah, with Tyreek Hill out of the picture, I mean, it's not just going to be Juju and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Sky Moore picking up the slack. They need, I mean, you're talking about 150 targets from one of the premier players at the position. None of those guys I just mentioned are anywhere close to Tyreek Hill's level. Clyde needs to be involved in the passing game. And if he's not, again, to the tune of a top 24 season, then stick a fork in him.
There you go.
Yeah. I wish I could give a better endorsement. I liked Clyde a lot coming out. And
was he
that
your
has
RB1
so
that
far backfired. What's that?
Was he your RB1 that year?
Like
he was
overall?
a lot of people's RB1. So rookie RB1
for dynasty, for rookie. Yeah, I mean, yes, we all got sucked. Not all, but a lot of people, myself included, got sucked into the landing spot and the draft capital. I mean, first
and
round
the narrative.
pick.
I mean,
right. First
Andy
round
Reid
pick,
pass
catching back with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Comparisons to your boy Brian Westbrook.
So, yeah, I mean, that hasn't worked out so far. But also, not that Westbrook was Brian Westbrook his first couple seasons in the league, but there hasn't. But Westbrook was ripping off big plays, flashing the talent before they finally gave him the reins, I think, in his third season. So maybe there's the correlation. Clyde's in his third season. Like, come on, Clyde. Like, it's now or never.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
Yeah. So there you go. We hope that clears things up for you. I don't think we really gave you a definitive answer.
RB4. If he's your team's RB4, then great. If he's your team's RB3, okay.
Let's hope he got some good depth and some good dudes ahead of him.
If he's your team's RB2, it's time to blow it up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hate to say it, but it's hard to say much more as far as trying to spin it positively for Clyde.
What's going on, Brandon? What's going on, Logan?
What's up, Brandon?
How good do you think Breece Hall could be this season in half PPR?
Good.
Good.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah. We just talked about Ronald Jones being the RB15, RB16, and standard and half PPR. I think that could be where Breece Hall falls in this season.
Yeah, so right now on Underdog Fantasy, Breece's ADP is around like 45, I think. Let me double check what I most recently had written down. Yeah, Breece's ADP is about 45. I'll be honest, I thought it would be higher than that by now. I thought he'd be going 10 spots higher than this. And
that's your chance to capitalize. You can still capitalize on him.
Right. If you play best ball, get in there now if you like Breece and take him in the fourth round, because I think by the start of the preseason, all it's going to take is him to rip off one run in the first preseason game, and then he gets shut down by the team and all the
He's a third rounder. He's a third rounder for sure.
Yep. Yeah. All he needs to do is rip off one run of more than 10 yards, and his ADP is going to go up 10 spots. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Now to that being said, I don't think that's smoke and mirrors. They traded up in the second round to draft him. He was and still is far and away the number one running back prospect of this class. He was first team all Big 12 honors. He's a decorated prospect, Breece is. And this Jets offense is I don't even know if it's low-key intriguing anymore. It's just intriguing. There's a lot of young, interesting names on this offense. The question, of course, is the offensive line. Can the offensive line take a step forward, because they have been bad for a couple
I don't
years.
even know if that's really going to hold him back. You look at what Najee Harris did, a prospect that we compared Breece Hall to. We called Breece Hall a younger Najee Harris,
and maybe a better Najee.
He was 2 years, 1.5 years, 2 years younger than Najee Harris was coming out. Najee Harris ran behind a terrible O-line in Pittsburgh last year.
Yep.
And what did he do? Bad. He was still a top 6 running back on the season. Breece Hall, I don't know if the total offense will be able to propel him to that. But then again, they were playing in basically a dead offense with Ben Roethlisberger last year. All it took was an insane amount of usage.
That's
Breece Hall
what I'm
is most likely going to get an insane amount of usage. I don't know if it's going to be Najee Harris level, which is why I'm not saying that he's going to be a top 6 running back this season. But can he be top 16 with upside for top 12? Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. As for guys that we would want ahead of him, it's everybody that you would think to name ahead of him. But he's going ahead of guys right now like Antonio Gibson. I think I would rather have. I mean, it would be at the same cost. I'm kind of splitting hairs between the two.
Okay.
And that leads us into a completely another discussion. But
that's another
basically,
conversation.
Top 16 running back for sure. Shoe in for top 16 numbers at the position with the upside for top 12. Absolutely. Can he be an RB1 this season? Yes.
Yeah, some things are going to have to go his way, fall his way, but he could. Yeah, I don't know that he sees 381 touches like Najee did.
And the other factor is there are a lot of running backs that are coming back from injury. We saw, Saquon Barkley leave halfway through the season. CMC had a down season. J.K. Dobbins and Travis Etienne didn't play last year.
Are both
so
back.
We have a lot of running backs who are
Cam Akers.
Yeah, Cam Akers too, who are going to be in the fold this year, fighting for being the next young RB1.
Right.
And Breece Hall is just thrown into that conversation. So top 12 might be, even this year, top 10 might be a little rich.
Little
top
ambitious,
12,
yeah.
I think is his ceiling. Top 16, I think is his sweet spot. Because the guys like Josh Jacobs are going to fall out of the top 16 this year, I believe. Still maybe 17, maybe 18, but with them drafting a Zamir White and with Josh McDaniels, I think he falls down the pecking order a little bit. And there are a couple of guys there that I do think will make room for him to succeed. A.J. Dillon takes away some of Aaron Jones's high-end ceiling. So we could see a little play there. The running back position is going to be really interesting this season.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry's coming back from injury.
Alvin Kamara, we don't know what that's going to look like.
Don't know. Yeah, DeAndre Swift missed time at the end of the season, so he's back. There's lots of interesting young names here.
Would you rather have Javonte Williams or Breece Hall for this year?
For this season?
For this season.
Javonte.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. The Broncos head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, former Packers offensive coordinator. I'm not ready to crown Javonte the way I have crowned Aaron Jones, but I mean, you're talking about top 10 running back production under Hackett, and now that's Javonte's head coach.
Right,
so,
right.
And it's a better offense in Denver or it's a much more established offense with Russell Wilson as opposed to Zach Cougar Wilson. Zach Wilson is still the GOAT, though, after the little tidbits from this weekend. Zach Wilson is the GOAT.
Not a fantasy take, but there you go. Yeah,
not agreed. A fantasy take, but agreed. Zach Wilson is just the GOAT.
He's winning the offseason.
He's doing his BYU Cougars proud. Ayo. Got him. Yeah, so with Breece, and then of course we haven't even talked about Michael Carter, who is a solid player, and if we're making the Breece to Najee comparisons, Michael Carter is a better running back than any of the depth running backs in Pittsburgh, maybe combined. Carter's he's not spectacular, but he's a solid player, and I think he continues to mix in this season. But Breece should see, I would think, somewhere along 65% of the snaps, 60% of the
70,
work.
30, 65, 35 split there.
Yeah, like a 65-35 split, something along those lines.
And they could transform Michael Carter into a Nyheim Hines type. They really could just be like, all right, you're going to be a pass-catching specialist at this point.
And he can do that.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. I'm not totally off of Carter. I hope I remembered to put him in my draft plan. I feel like I forgot to. I think I did forget to. I'm gonna have to throw him back in there.
And that is something we do want to remind y'all about the draft kit. There will be edits. Last year there were 7 different edits. I went back and looked. There were 7 different edits over the course of the off season coming into the year. So be on the lookout for those 2. We will let you guys know when the edits do occur, so you can come back, take another look, and just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, it's a good call out. The draft plan is, of course, not set in stone. So if any developments happen, encourage you to go back and take a look, and we'll let you know what specifically might have been added.
But there's also a chance, I just want to throw this out there, there's also a chance that Breece Hall is so good that he relegates Michael Carter to Alexander Mattison treatment, where where Michael Carter doesn't see the field. There is a chance where Michael Carter doesn't see the field unless Breece Hall gets injured. So I do just want to throw out that possibility. I wouldn't bet on it happening, especially year 1, but stranger things have happened.
Year 1, and also just the way NFL teams operate with their backfields these days.
Then Robert Saleh coming over from the 49ers, they never ran their offense in that manner. So,
like the thing about Najee from a workload perspective, he couldn't have landed in a better spot because Pittsburgh is one of the few teams left in the league, especially under Mike Tomlin, that funnels work to just one guy. There's only a handful of teams that you can identify as far as doing that anymore. And as much as we like Breece, the history of the 49ers offense, which is going to influence the Jets offense based on the coaching staff, is that they never rely on just one guy. And while Breece is the best player in that backfield and is the most talented, and again, they traded up in the second round to select him, which means they're going to utilize him, I don't think Michael Carter completely goes away.
No. But it is within the realm of possibilities there. It is.
Yeah, so it's within the realm of outcomes. I just I don't know how much I don't know how much of a chance I would give that.
Fair enough.
But I do that, all this to say, with an ADP of 45 right now, I think that is only going to climb. I think Breece is going to be a rock solid RB2 this year with RB1 weeks.
Yep, with RB1 upside for sure.
Yep.
And typically a running back's best season, when you look at the highest of high-end running backs, has been within their first 3 years in the league. And lots of times is their first season in the league because fresh legs means a lot for the running back position. So, yeah. And in terms of Breece Hall's comp, prior to the draft, I heard this is a lofty comparison.
Is this a player profiler comparison?
It's a breakout finder comparison, and they're under the player profiler flag.
Okay.
They're one of their divisions. LaDainian Tomlinson. I know. Okay. I know. But the metrics, the stats, a lot of that stuff, when you put it into the machine, the name that it spat out for the breakout finder was LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, we compared him to a younger Najee Harris. So I think that would fall in line more with the realistic comp for him. So I'm just going to roll with that. But we have heard some very lofty comps for Breece Hall. A lot of that has to do with, the landing spot is important there. He's not going to a young Phillip Rivers-led offense with Malcolm Floyd and Vincent Jackson and those types of players. He's going to a lesser offense with some question marks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Najee Harris year one comps are fair. He's just probably not going to get as much work as Najee got year one, which will result in him not being a top 6 running back again. But and we're going to keep repeating ourselves here. top 16 running back, top 12 upside in year one.
381 touches is not happening, but 300 could. 300 touches could happen. I think 250 touches is his floor. And 300 can certainly happen. I don't see him pushing 400 touches year one in this offense with a player who is solid enough in Michael Carter as an option for change of pace.
And I will say this, the fact that people are already talking about where Breece Hall would have fallen into the pecking order in the 2023 class and him being maybe the RB3 in that class, some say RB4 in that class, says that, we can don't pay attention too much to the LaDainian Tomlinson comps, but that was thrown out there by a reputable source. But he should be a very good player.
Yeah, should be solid.
Should be
I think he's going a little too low in redraft right now.
Yes, I will absolutely agree with that.
So in best ball, scoop him up.
Logan Hampton, thanks for joining us. Is Velus Jones still viable in Chicago with Harry on the way dynasty?
Yeah. I mean, you're not spending more than a late third, early fourth round pick on him. So you're talking about like a zero risk investment anyway. N'Keal Harry, when was he drafted? 2019?
2018.
18? I mean, so
I think let me check that out.
Okay. I mean, so he had a couple. I know he was a rookie, and Patriots rookie wide receivers do not have a history of doing much of anything there.
It was 2019. You're right.
Okay. So he had one season of overlap with Tom Brady, but he was a rookie. So can't really hold that one against him. But then the past couple of years, I mean, I don't know how you explain it other than he just hasn't been able to put it together. Now
in 2020, his quarterback was Cam Newton.
It was Cam.
Wasn't throwing pretty much at all on a play-to-play basis.
It was a broken Cam, unfortunately.
And but in 2021, if there was a year that he should have fired, it would have been year one with Mac Jones.
He
just didn't. The third-year breakout did not happen for him.
No, I mean, he got passed up on the depth chart by...
It was his worst year.
Everybody. So
by fantasy points per game, it was his worst year.
Now, we haven't given up on Justin Fields, the prospect. So it's not like it's a significant... We can't sit here and definitively say it's a downgrade of any kind going from Mac Jones to Justin Fields.
I'm just gonna put this out there right now. I'd rather have Velus Jones than N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry going to Chicago
in dynasty, I mean,
doesn't make Velus Jones not viable. The reason why I haven't been high on Velus Jones is because he's coming into the league old, and for dynasty, you don't want to typically invest in 25-year-old rookie wide receivers, which is what he is. Last year, we saw 24-year-old Dwayne Eskridge. 2 years ago, the 24-year-old wide receiver was Van Jefferson, and I think he's more Van Jefferson than he is Dwayne Eskridge. So I will throw that out, but he is 1 year older than Van Jefferson was coming out. He is the same age as Van Jefferson year two, and he's playing on a bad team. Now, he is a speedster, 4.31 speed.
Pretty good.
And he is going to see the field. He is going to be most likely their number 2 receiver. He is fighting number 2, number 3 receiver. I think N'Keal Harry slots in as their number 4. It most likely goes Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle. And then once Velus Jones gets his feet underneath him, maybe Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones, Byron Pringle, then N'Keal Harry. This might be a reaction to the David Moore news that came out, where he was arrested. The depth wide receiver for the Bears. I believe it was firearm charges. And this might just be hey, we just need somebody else in here to be a wide receiver in the wide receiver room to pick up targets, and this guy has some untapped upside. But I wouldn't be putting any investment on N'Keal Harry going to this new destination. Again, Nick and I both think that as soon as next season, they're going to put a premium on getting Justin Fields a true number one, what they wanted from Allen Robinson last year. Because Darnell Mooney is not a true number one. He most likely slots in as a very good number two. But they're going to do the same thing that the Jets did last year with moving into this year with Elijah Moore, bringing in Garrett Wilson. They're going to want to get one more wide receiver who pushes all the other guys down the depth chart a little bit further. And that's just going to do the same thing that N'Keal Harry, if he sticks around that long. So don't worry about N'Keal Harry. Velus Jones is still viable in Dynasty. But there's a very good chance that Velus Jones, he's never a high-end prospect, but he could be an exciting best ball pick down the road in 2 years.
Yeah, if he has a game where he catches a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown, see if you can flip him for a second-round pick. Like immediately after it happens.
He's going to be Van Jefferson on a worse offense with less competition. And that's if he reaches his ceiling.
Yeah.
But 25 also means he's more mature.
Right, he's got to be pro ready. You're not waiting until you're 27, 28 years old to throw this guy out there.
Top of the third round.
Right, let's see what he can do.
Right?
Yeah, let's see what he can do. We have nothing else to lose, and we have nothing else going on for us in the wide receiver department. Let's see if our third round pick can play a little bit. So he should see the field.
But if you're a fan of breakout
11
age,
personnel,
24.3, he broke out last season. So do temper your expectations for him, but he's still ahead of N'Keal Harry for me, regardless.
For Dynasty, absolutely, and maybe in redraft too. Not that I think either one. Not that I think either one is redraft worthy.
We opened this live stream talking about Josh Doctson. I think that's what N'Keal Harry is. Josh Doctson went to other teams, didn't do anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everybody pans out.
Yeah.
But no, Velus has a window here to, to do a little something.
Yeah.
N'Keal Harry does not take away from his chances.
No, not at all.
Plus, they're two different types of players. N'Keal Harry is not a speedster.
They traded a 2024 seventh for him, but they drafted Velus Jones in the third this past year. Who do they like more?
Yeah. They just were looking for a warm body for some depth.
Yeah.
And that's what N'Keal Harry presents. So yeah, give me. I'll take the shot on Velus. A little bit more interested in Velus. What's going on, Hunter? I don't think we officially said hello.
How you doing, man?
I guess it is kind of sad for N'Keal Harry, but when you don't produce,
he got out from a regime that was clearly down on him. I'm not sad for him. It's
no, he's still getting paid.
It's probably an outcome that he wanted.
Well, he asked for a trade last year.
Right. This is technically good for him because he does have a chance to truly rise up a depth chart with a young, up and coming quarterback on a team that has a need at wide receiver. He was never getting that chance in New England. So technically, he probably feels very good about this.
Oh, I'm sure Harry.
I don't, from a dynasty perspective, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he's thrilled because if there's any receiver looking for a second chance and a change of scenery, there's not too many better spots than Chicago because it's a wide open competition.
And he's 6 months younger than Velus Jones, so kind of wild.
There you go. That's wild.
But I still like Velus Jones' chances more because Edge goes to the rookie with the higher recent draft capital.
Agreed.
What's going on, CXK?
What's up, CXK?
You want to talk a little bit about Olave because I know he's been a wide receiver that you kind of turned me on to early in the process and have been a fan of for a while.
Yeah, I mean I can do that. It's there's a lot of factors that are in his favor this year, or that's what it looks like. First of all, it was the 11th overall pick, right? So you're talking about essentially a top 10 draft capital. Goes to an offense where we got a former 5,000-yard passer installed as the starting quarterback in Jameis Winston. Jameis is still rehabbing from his torn ACL, but it sounds like he's going to be ready week 1. I haven't seen anything that Jameis is in his availability for week 1 is in question. They're bringing him along slowly, but also Jameis is a veteran at this point. He doesn't need necessarily preseason snaps to be ready week 1. So he's got a good, he's got a 5,000-yard passer throwing him the ball, former 5,000-yard passer. And this is a Saints offense that has some question marks around it. Michael Thomas has essentially not played for 2 years. He hurt the ankle in 2020, missed a ton of time. He came back early or he rushed back to try to help the Saints in the 2020-21 playoffs. The Saints lost to the Bucs on the Bucs way to winning the Super Bowl. And then everything spiraled out in 2021 with Michael Thomas. He missed the entire season. Sounds like things are good or better. But he's been posting workout videos, and there have been some outlets, including the Fantasy Doctors, their YouTube channel, who, of course, if it's not clear in their name, they analyze injuries.
And they're doctors.
Yeah, they are doctors. I'm not a doctor. They are doctors. And, they took one of the workout videos that Thomas posted and basically suggested if this is the maximum amount that he's able to do at this time, that's a little concerning. So Thomas is still rehabbing from an ankle injury he suffered 2 years ago. Now, of course, this could be some smoke and mirrors. Maybe the Saints are trying to keep it hush hush. Maybe Michael Thomas is much healthier than anybody actually knows, because NFL teams like to play that song and dance where things are vague and murky because they don't want information to get out. But all we can go off of right now is what we know. And what we know is Michael Thomas is seemingly still rehabbing from this ankle injury. On top of that, Alvin Kamara, it seems like he's out of the woods for now, but he still has this pending legal situation that he has a hearing for the incident that stemmed over Pro Bowl weekend. It's August 1st, but y'all know how the legal process goes. It takes forever. So there's going to need to be a follow-up hearing, a follow-up court date after August 1st. And generally speaking, that takes another several months for it to get scheduled. So Kamara's probably going to be fine for week 1, but he still might. It's not been ruled out that he might get suspended for this year for 6 games or so. All this to say, there is an opportunity here for Olave to soak up a huge target share in his rookie season. And even if these guys both come back healthy, or Thomas comes back healthy, Kamara ducks suspension, now the Saints have let's say it's a best case scenario, the Saints have their full arsenal, they have their full offense ready to go. Now you're talking about Olave, who has been billed as maybe one of the smartest players in this draft, one of the most football knowledgeable players in this draft, and a proven route runner. Now you're talking about him getting one-on-one coverage all season long. And with Michael Thomas, if he's back healthy, Jarvis Landry is running his, short and intermediate role that he has excelled in his career. Olave might be this team's deep threat. And Jameis Winston, his in a small sample size last year, was the most efficient he's ever been in his career. So that's good for the Saints offense, but Jameis is still a quarterback who we know can uncork it and let it fly. So Olave's got some big time upside here. Even if all of the rest of the Saints offense is healthy, Olave might be their deep threat. I think he can succeed in all 3 levels of the field with the way with his route running ability, and he's fast as hell. So he can be there. He can go deep. He can go deep for this Saints offense. I think he's got an ADP around 98 for redraft. Yeah, so just inside the top 100. I love taking a chance on him there, no matter what the rest of my team makeup looks like at that point. He is my rookie wide receiver 1 for this season, and the arrow is pointing straight up on him. The draft capital is in his favor. The offense it's a good enough landing spot, and even if everybody's healthy, Jarvis Landry is on the other side of 30, and Michael Thomas is now 2 years removed from an ankle injury. Olave's not so far away from potentially operating as this team's wide receiver 1 somewhat soon. I think he's going to be awesome.
Then yeah, Michael Thomas is a year removed from surgery and still rehabbing, and the surgery wasn't a torn ACL, it wasn't torn Achilles, it was a high ankle sprain, a very bad high ankle sprain that he exacerbated, and it turned into another injury because he played on it. But still, you do have to factor that in, and he was seen running routes. After that video that we referenced a few live streams ago and that Nick referenced just now, he was seen running routes on the field.
Yeah, he was.
But those routes were not crisp. He was rounding out a lot of the cuts in and out of his breaks. You know who's real crisp as a route runner?
Chris Olave.
Yeah. Crisp Olave.
Got him. Yeah,
I love Chris Olave this year. I don't think Michael Thomas is gonna be retiring.
No.
But I think if he's coming back, I hate to use this terminology, a shell of himself.
Yeah.
But for a guy that is known to be running slants all over the field, that's how we won. That's how we ended up having a record-breaking year with Drew Brees. Running slants everywhere. He's not going to be able to do that anywhere near as effective as he was back then. And Olave is just younger, crisper. I think it's Olave's role to take. I really do. Now,
I think he's going to be good this year. Yeah.
With respect to Brandon's question regarding me having Matt Ryan in my top 16 at 16 quarterbacks in our past in our past live streams, quarterback rankings for redraft. He asked, what do y'all think about Pittman? Could he finish as a wide receiver 1? Absolutely. I think we
both have him as the wide receiver 12.
Wide receiver 1. I just want to throw this out here to you guys, real quick analysis, and then we'll move on to some more questions. So throw some more questions in the chat. We'll get to them real shortly. But Michael Thomas was the number 3 wide receiver in the league last year in total route wins.
Or Pittman?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who did I say?
Michael Thomas, who we did just get.
Not Michael Thomas. Michael Pittman.
Michael Thomas had 0 route wins last year.
Yeah. Sorry about
routes.
That.
Okay.
Route win rate, 4%, the fourth best in the league. And Matt Ryan, weirdly, was the number 2 quarterback in accuracy rating versus man coverage, which now I know he's going to a different offense, but he threw against man coverage 63.5% of the time. So that was much more than 50% of the time. And he was the second best quarterback in the league at doing that. Second best deep ball catchable pass rate. 9th best clean pocket accuracy rating. He went from a terrible O-line having team in the Falcons to a great O-line having team, if that's a term, with the Colts. Great O-line. And clean pocket accuracy rating, 9th best in the league.
That's
under pressure accuracy rating, number 3 in the league last year.
And he was under
on a terrible team with the Falcons. The one thing he didn't have was a consistent wide receiver. Guess what he's going to have this year in Michael Pittman? A consistent wide receiver who wins routes at a league high or close to average, playing in his 3rd season. Michael Pittman is going to be a wide receiver 1. If he plays all the games or close to it, he will be a wide receiver 1. I see no reason to think otherwise. I would not only say that I would put money on it, I have put money on it. Michael Pittman will be a wide receiver 1.
There you go.
Hands down, no question. There is only one wide receiver in the league that I feel more confident by the numbers, not just by rankings, but by the numbers, will also be a wide receiver 1. It's Mike Evans. By the numbers, the target share, the quarterback, the amount of pass attempts in that offense, he's going to be a wide receiver 1. Pittman's going to be a wide receiver 1.
I mean, yeah, I'm in lockstep on this. Pittman put up 88 catches and did he have 1,200 yards last year?
1082, and that was with
almost 1,100
Wentz
yards.
Kind of, I'm not going to say phasing him out of the offense last year, but Wentz being incompetent towards the end of last season.
Well, the player they phased out of the offense was Carson Wentz. Because they were like, oh crap, this guy sucks. Let's just hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor literally every chance we can get. And that's what they did.
Yeah, I remember towards the end of last year, Michael Pittman was getting like 70 yards through the air on 5 to 6 catches, but they were giving him the ball on the ground. I remember there was a game, because I had him in my lineup, 77 receiving yards, 33 rush yards towards the end of last year.
Yeah, they're trying to manufacture plays for him, but
because he's that good.
Because
he's that good. He's
right.
Gonna be a wide receiver 1 this year. It's not even close.
I mean, if he can get almost 90 catches with Carson Wentz and then them kind of going away from throwing the ball to kind of hide Wentz toward the second half of the season, I mean, Pittman's got 100 catch upside with a more competent quarterback.
Absolutely.
And you know, this is a Colts offense that outside of Pittman is a little devoid of talent in the pass catching department. We're intrigued by Paris Campbell, but he's had 2 injury-plagued seasons. We can't possibly, project him as more than a wide receiver 5. And then we both like Mo Alley Cox as a deep sleeper at tight end, but he's never had more than 400 yards receiving in any of his 4 NFL seasons. I mean, it's the Michael Pittman show. They drafted Alec Pierce in the 2nd round, so he'll mix in. And then, maybe Nyheim Hines sees some increased work as a pass-catching running back this year. Obviously, they still have Taylor, who was the best running back in the game in 2021. But there's not that much in this Colts pecking order in the pass-catching department behind Michael Pittman. He should probably be not heavily targeted, but hyper targeted.
Every analytic metric has Matt Ryan somewhere that matters. Has Matt Ryan somewhere in the top 16. 11th in pass attempts last year. 11th in pass yards. We already talked about deep ball catchable pass rate and all that. In just terms of pure accuracy rating, 8th in the league. Michael Pittman, in terms of all the metrics and analytics, he's in the top 8 in every single analytic that really matters. And his work should increase going into this year from last year. And last year, he was the wide receiver 22 by fantasy points per game, but that had a lot more to do with the offense phasing out, again, to Nick's point, Carson Wentz, and the fact that Carson Wentz has never been as good of a quarterback as Matt Ryan.
No. And then the other thing with Ryan is, how many times did Carson Wentz throw the ball last year? I mentioned this when who did I do a video for?
Matt Ryan throw the ball last year? 560 attempts.
No, sorry. How many times did Wentz throw the ball last year?
Oh, I can look
Wentz
that up
Wentz had 516 pass attempts last year. Actually, that was the 3rd most in his career.
That's crazy.
If they are and well, also okay, so the extra game factors in. So he played 17 games. He did play all 17 games. If they're throwing the ball 516 times with Carson Wentz, adjusted slightly for the additional game, Matt Ryan throws for 500 pass attempts in his sleep. He's thrown for 600 pass attempts in half of his NFL seasons.
4,000 passing yards in 10 straight seasons prior to last year.
Yeah, so he's probably going to total 40. He'll get over 4,000 passing yards this year, even with an offense that is a little thin in the receiver department, which means Pittman is going to probably see 130 targets. Maybe I'm being a little conservative with that.
I think more.
150 targets?
Yeah. I think 140 to 150 targets is where he's going to be at. 100 receptions is where he's going to be at. He will finish as a wide receiver 1.
And I know
what's going on, Slim? What's going on, Will?
What's going on, guys? And the last thing I'll say here on this is obviously, the wide receiver 1s in Atlanta have been guys like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. But Matt Ryan has produced wide receiver 1 seasons his entire career. So, yeah, wheels up on Pittman. And for what it's worth, Ryan is one of my, in one quarterback leagues, there's higher end options I'd prefer to end up with. But for Superflex, he's excellent. He's excellent depth. He can be your QB2. If he's your QB3, you got a gold mine at the position, and that's exactly where you want to be in Superflex. But he can be a QB. He can be your team's QB2 if he needs to be.
And look, just one more thing here. Look at what Julio Jones was doing. Now I know Julio Jones, Hall of Fame talent, wide receiver. I'm not putting that on Pittman quite yet. But look at what Julio Jones was doing with Mohamed Sanu as his number 2 wide receiver.
Dominating.
1,400-yard seasons in his sleep, topped out at 1,677 and 8 touchdowns in 2018, which was Calvin Ridley's first season, and Calvin Ridley himself had 800 yards and 10 touchdowns that year. Now, Matt Ryan has probably regressed a little bit from that point 5 years ago now, but probably not much by the numbers.
Quarterbacks get better in their late 30s. They don't get worse. Now, yes, 36, 37 years old.
1,300-yard season, 1,300-yard season for Michael Pittman, well within the range of outcomes for him.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Will brought up this is a Nyheim Hines comment. We're not on. But yeah, it's
sneaking into the top 12. A little rich for me, but I like the take. And
I've been a proponent
I'm on that Nyheim Hines.
I like Nyheim Hines this year. I think he's going to mix in more. I think Taylor. It's impossible to rank Taylor as anything other than 1 or 2 at the running back position after what he did. But I think Nyheim Hines is going to come back into the fold a little bit this year. Carson Wentz has never been a quarterback who has thrown the ball well or accurately short to running backs, which you would think are easier throws to complete, but Wentz can't seem to do it. Nyheim Hines gets a quarterback who can do it. Like Nyheim Hines might be looking at not an overall type of season that Cordero Patterson had last year, but from the receiving department, Nyheim Hines can put up those numbers. And as far as my Carson Wentz can't throw the ball short, that's a J.D. McKissick tweet. Sorry, J.D. McKissick.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, J.D. McKissick is about to plummet this year because Wentz can't throw short to running backs. So
and they
draft
did just
Antonio Gibson.
Brian Robinson, who
just grab Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Just grab Brian. Yeah. I don't even want to grab Brian. Just grab Antonio.
I wasn't saying grab him. I'm just saying he's there now too.
And he's
for J.D. McKissick. So yeah, I'm off.
He's
J.D.
more
McKissick.
of he's more of the direct backup to Antonio Gibson.
But he can catch passes too, though. He will just muddy the waters there in that whole running back depth chart. So the only running back that I'm really looking at is Antonio Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah, McKissick might fall off a little bit this year as Wentz sails a pass 5 yards over his head. 3 yards away from him.
And Hunter and Sam, we had our when the Baker news went down, it was during a members only live stream day. It was on Wednesday, so we haven't actually talked about the repercussions from that move in a public stream yet. So I think that we should do that. As far as the first person we should be hitting on being CMC, Hunter L, it helps CMC.
It helps, but also he doesn't need help.
He doesn't need help, but the one thing that Baker Mayfield did well was utilize his running backs in Cleveland in the pass game.
Yeah.
He had 2 running back ones, borderline one shoe-in running back one and one borderline running back one for a good 3 years. How long was Kareem Hunt there?
Kareem Hunt's been there since 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Okay.
2019 that was the season he was suspended for, it was like 8 games or 6 games.
Yeah.
For something. What did he do? Fail a drug test? I honestly don't remember. I don't think it was another off-field.
And it
issue.
it wasn't 2 RB1s. It was 1 RB1 and 1 RB2.
Yeah. So
but
Kareem Hunt's been there
those
since
together into one player.
2020 was like an RB1, I think, on a per game basis for Kareem Hunt.
No, he still finished RB19 that year. But, I mean, 13.7 fantasy points per game, according to Player Profiler.
Not as good as I remember, but
still good. And last year, improved on that number, despite the question marks last year. 13.8 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, it was still good. I think he scored like 5 touchdowns last year in not too many games.
And that split between 2 players, and he was, I mean...
Right, and McCaffrey's going to do
at
both.
least 37 receptions in 2 out of the past 3 seasons. CMC is going to pick up all that work.
Yeah, McCaffrey didn't need help. He's quarterback proof. He's situation proof. I will say this is a modest enough quarterback upgrade in Baker Mayfield, because Baker is not bad. He's not great, but he's not terrible, which is better than anything Carolina's had since Cam Newton was not a broken quarterback. So yeah, it's fair to, I think, if you want to, rank Christian McCaffrey ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I think it's fair. For what it's worth, and this is a whole different conversation that I don't want to get into right this second, but the overall RB1 has not repeated for like 10 years or more than that. So as much as we like Taylor, and you know, I initially ranked him number 1 as my overall RB1, history is working against him to finish number 1 overall. McCaffrey is absolutely still in that conversation, and Baker again is a modest enough upgrade where you're not going to get an argument from me if you want to put McCaffrey number 1 overall for 1 quarterback leagues.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, a lot of people are reference 2021 as a down year for him. 18.2 fantasy points per game, and that was with Sam Darnold vulturing touchdowns from him on the goal line in those first few games when he was truly healthy. Sam Darnold had 5 rushing touchdowns in the first 4 games. That's never been part of Baker Mayfield's game. So and it never really was with Sam Darnold, outlier for sure. It wasn't with
Darnold either, but yeah, he had an outlier stretch.
But all this, I'm looking at the numbers. Baker Mayfield has had 1 rushing touchdown in each of the past 2 seasons. That's not something he's going to bring to Carolina.
No.
Christian McCaffrey should be a shoo-in for getting a ton of touchdown work next year with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield does not run the ball in the red zone.
No, but compared to what the Panthers had, he increases their scoring opportunities.
Yes. Yep.
So Yeah, I am fine if you want to take McCaffrey first overall.
18.2 fantasy points per game with 5 vultured touchdowns in the first 4 games. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, wheels up on McCaffrey. Wheels up on DJ Moore too. 3 straight 1,100-yard seasons with that same garbage quarterback play. You've said it before. If DJ Moore had anything a little bit more competent at the quarterback position for the past couple of seasons, we'd be probably talking about him in the same light that we talk about Mike Evans. And that's
specifically
to say,
in that first season when he didn't play the full season. If he played the full season,
and still almost had 1,000 yards receiving.
Right. If he played the full season, he would have 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards receiving with terrible quarterback play. Nothing close to Jameis Winston plus Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And he's been limited to 4 passing touchdowns in each of the past 3 seasons because he's had to deal with P.J. Walker and Will Grier and Sam Darnold
Kyle
and
Allen.
Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, Kyle Allen. Baker Mayfield's not great, but he is an upgrade over all those guys.
He's better than all those dudes. So, yeah, I mean, that's enough of an improvement in Baker where I feel good about drafting more. So his ADP has corrected to around like 33 since the trade. I can't move him higher than that. Like, I'm not moving him, even though there's question marks about AJ Brown. I don't know. Are you moving DJ Moore ahead of AJ Brown for this year?
They're in the same tier for me.
I guess that's the benchmark,
They're
and then it's
literally
just
in
like
the same tier for me, and I don't know who I would have ranked.
Like, I'm not moving him ahead of, like, I'll move DJ ahead of Terry McLaurin, ahead of Jalen Waddle, ahead of Hollywood Brown, Cortland Sutton, all those guys. AJ Brown is kind of that same tier, I guess. I did put Brown 1 spot ahead of him in the draft plan. I can't put him ahead of Mike Williams. I can't put ahead of Michael Pittman, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel. Now you're talking about the premier players at the position that are deservedly going in the first 2 rounds of the draft. DJ Moore is not in that conversation yet. But
DJ Moore has
close.
a lower ceiling than AJ Brown, but he is much more consistent and much less of an injury risk. So if you want to play it safe, it's DJ Moore. If you're shooting for elite upside and you're betting on Jalen Hurts really growing in year 2 as a starter, then AJ Brown. So it's really a risk tolerance question, but they're in the same tier. Just depends, do you want to go safe and go with the DJ Moore, or do you want to risk it and go AJ Brown? But they're the same age too, 25 years old.
Yeah. And for whatever it's worth, Devontae Smith, the AJ Brown's running mate, is significantly better than anything that the Panthers will be lining up opposite DJ Moore. To that point, DJ Moore could be a little bit more hyper targeted.
Yes.
Than AJ Brown. So yeah, Moore is looking good. And was it Slim who mentioned Terrace Marshall? I mean, Terrace Marshall is firmly on the streaming radar too. He has to be considered, in at the very end of drafts.
He was the primary slot wide receiver last year.
Yeah, before I think he got hurt. He didn't have like a huge. He's going to be playing
the Jarvis Landry role in that offense.
Yeah, he probably should. Yeah, Terrace Marshall's a great roll of the dice to take. I don't think his ADP has changed too much. Let me double check that really quick.
If it has changed, probably not all that much.
Probably not enough to be like, now I'm off of him. Terrace Marshall's ADP as of today right now is still outside of the top 200. So yeah, I loved Terrace Marshall will be on redraft rosters this year if he doesn't get drafted.
Yeah, look at that slim with the stats. Baker has a 19% target rate to running back, second highest top Second highest to top slot wide receivers. I think that's
or
is that two
slot
wide receivers?
Yeah.
CMC and Terrace Marshall will show up.
Yeah. They're gonna. I mean, McCaffrey, I was never worried about, even if I was his quarterback. Maybe I'm a little worried if I'm his quarterback.
No, you're the fastest man alive. You got it.
Well, then I'm running. I'm running RPOs and keeping the ball and taking production away from CMC. But I mean, with Marshall, yeah, I would say he might be the biggest winner here for this Panthers offense.
No, I still think DJ Moore is the biggest winner, but he is definitely the biggest sleeper. DJ
Moore is a winner, but DJ Moore is also good enough where it was like we were still drafting him in the 4th round before the Baker Mayfield trade. Terrace Marshall is now actually on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, but he finally has
they're winners for different
more
reasons.
Than four touchdowns on upside.
Like finally, no, Moore is a clear winner here, but he's good enough where it was like I'm drafting him anyway. Now now it's like, okay, I'm comfortably taking him over guys that were going in that same range. I don't want to discredit DJ Moore too much though. He's proven he's very good.
Very, very good.
He's very good. So yeah,
and still pretty young. So yeah,
still only 25. So yeah, and as far as the running, my thing about Jonathan Taylor, I guess Gurley did. Yeah, okay, so Gurley did it in half PPR, but yeah, I was thinking that one of those years Saquon was the overall RB1. But I guess it was just PPR scoring. So, all right, I might have misspoke a little bit about that RB1 repeat.
Hunter, the answer is yes.
But the point remains, it is difficult to repeat as the overall RB. It's difficult to repeat in general anyway. So, yeah, I guess that's a Christian McCaffrey comment. More so than it is a Jonathan Taylor comment.
And Brandon, how high is Allen Lazard's ceiling in half PPR?
His ceiling is, if everything works his way, is probably a wide receiver 2.
His ceiling to me is what you've gotten from DJ Moore the past 3 to 4 years.
1,100 yards, maybe 80 or so catches,
and
4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a top 36 finish for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a top 24 ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I would say his ceiling is. Top 24, maybe not higher than, say, 20 or so, just because we just don't have that much to go off of. Obviously, the feather in his cap is he is probably Aaron Rodgers' wide receiver 1 this year. Him and the Lizard King are going to do it up for Green Bay this year, and then Julio Jones will eventually sign. But Lazard,
Randall Cobb career year.
Hey man, put some respect on Randall Cobb's name. I've always been a fan of Cobb.
No, I have too. I'm just.
Yeah, no, he's older now.
Yeah.
No, I have liked Randall Cobb. Unfortunately, I think the problem with Cobb is he defied the odds because he was always a little on the smaller side as far as stature, and I just think his body, like he stuck around in the league. I just think his body like wasn't quite able to maintain high-end production for very long. But anyway, yeah, I mean Lazard has, I would say, like that 20 to 24 range of wide receivers is his ceiling. Being the top option for Aaron Rodgers. We've never been able to say ever that Aaron Rodgers wide receiver 1 can be had 75 picks into a draft. That has never happened until this year. So yeah, he's a good investment. Like, yeah, I'm taking my shots on Allen Lazard.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae Adams is gone. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is gone.
He is a target for me. He is a target for me, just like he is a target for Aaron Rodgers. He is a target for me.
Yeah, out of necessity, he should operate as the team's wide receiver 1 this year, and that includes if they do decide to go bargain hunting and bring in a Will Fuller or a Julio Jones or Odell.
I'm sorry, Hunter.
What are we? Oh, can we go? We're not slandering. We're not slandering today.
Yo,
Lazard,
ask us about A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones and Robert Tonyan.
I don't think we're slandering. Yeah. I'm we're saying Alan Lazard can be a wide receiver too this year. And
don't get
Aaron
mad because
Rodgers,
we're not gonna tell you that Alan Lazard is the second coming of Devontae Adams. Don't.
I'm not ready to go there.
Come on now.
What I am ready to say is Aaron Rodgers, wide receiver 1, has never been drafted as late as the 7-8 turn. And that's where you can have Lazard this year. He's a great value. Yeah, it's a great value. Kind of the last man standing. So, yeah.
No,
we're not slandering Randall Cobb. I like no.
I was messing with you, man.
I put the kibosh on that. Like Randall Cobb, I have ever since his rookie season. I forget what it was. I think it was the year it was the year after the Packers won the Super Bowl. That was when they drafted Cobb, and they hosted the opening game. And I think Cobb was their punt returner for that game. He wasn't like a full-time receiver just yet. And I just remember he was making big plays in the return game. I was like, who is this guy? This was way before I paid that much as much attention to the offseason as I do. I was like, who the hell is this guy Cobb? But he was making
come back. Oh, my connection is unstable. I'm getting notices that my connection is unstable. I hope it stays fine. I know there is some inclement weather outside. Thunderstorm here, so I hope it's still cool. It's still rolling on my end, but I did get that notice, so just throwing that out there. But
this is why living on the East Coast is crap, because you get all that stuff in the summer.
Oh yeah. You West Coast, yes.
I'm saying living on the East Coast stinks for multiple reasons. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully the stream doesn't crap out. If there's any issues, obviously let us know, guys.
Well, Packer wide receivers have been some of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL for a long time. Greg Jennings gave us one of the greatest YouTube videos of all time. And Donald Drivers was always just a great wide receiver. Yeah. In his heyday, always had a ton of respect for Donald Driver. Has a street named after him now.
Directions.
yeah. And Jordy Nelson too. Jordy Nelson was when I first started in fantasy, he was one of my favorite targets to go after when he was on the Packers. I think I had him 2 years running in the early to mid 2000s. Before he too got traded away to the Raiders, just like Devontae Adams. Weird.
Weird. Very weird. Or didn't Jordy signed there as a free agent?
Yeah, it's just
either way. They both ended up with the Raiders.
Yeah. And CXK, Jahan Dotson or Terrace Marshall and a 2023 second Dynasty PPR Superflex.
Did we get to Hunter's question about trading Derrick Henry for McCaffrey?
I told him yes.
Oh,
I
okay. I remember
yes.
you saying yes.
Yes.
I guess I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. Yeah, Hunter. If the McCaffrey person, if the person who has McCaffrey rostered is willing to give McCaffrey up for Derrick Henry, I am doing that deal.
Yes.
I
You're getting 2 years younger.
Yep.
Dare I say healthier? I don't know if I can say that, but still.
I think. I mean, all things equal, I'd rather have McCaffrey's injury history than that Jones fracture that Derrick Henry suffered.
Jones fracture coming off of back-to-back 400 touch seasons at age 28, 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would much rather have CMC going into this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather have McCaffrey. I'd rather have McCaffrey. So, yeah, okay. Now we can move on.
This one is a little bit tough for me. I'm a fan of Jahan Dotson, but I've come around to Terrace Marshall, and a 2023 second isn't nothing. And for what it's worth, I think halfway through the year, you're going to be able to lowball the Jahan Dotson owner and get Jahan Dotson on the cheap.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I think you can press go on this trade.
Yeah, I think
you can still get Jahan Dotson on the cheap halfway, 3/4 of the way through the year when he's not firing like people thought he was when he was drafted because of where he was drafted. You'll be able to lowball the owner and get a first round pick talent on your team again in Jahan Dotson for
you're getting
a far future second or something like that, which I would be cool with doing.
Yeah, I'm not out on Dotson, but I agree that's a package where it's like it almost feels like you're buying low on Terrace Marshall while still picking up a pick that should have some solid value in the 2023 class. And as much as this does feel like it could be a situation developing where Dotson was kind of a darling of the offseason up to this point, but
when has Carson Wentz
to take
sustained
a back seat.
2 fantasy relevant wide receivers?
Yeah, he hasn't. So he's going to take a back seat. Dotson will too. Terry McLaurin 100% being back, and with that shiny new contract extension, will be treated like the wide receiver 1 that he is. So yeah, Dotson might take a little bit of time to actually get up to speed. So whereas Marshall, we just got done talking about, is now looking like a guy who can contribute this year or should contribute this year. And adding the draft pick. I am good with that move, CXK. I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I am fine with that. I'm fine with that move. Like I said, I like Dotson. I'm not out on him.
I'm not out on him.
Term.
I'm recommending you make offers for him halfway through the year when he is in a slump, which will undoubtedly happen because it's Carson Wentz's number 2 wide receiver. I'm not down on Jahan Dotson. I just think you can play this to get the best of both worlds. Terrace Marshall, the 23 second, and Jahan Dotson, and you will probably only have to give up a 2024, 2025 second to get him back, which I would do. Considering now Jahan Dotson is a second round pick in 2022. You should be able to say in 4 months, 5 months, throw out a 25 second for him, and it will probably. You might.
Yeah,
have,
maybe.
I think you can. I think you can get that done. I think you can get that done. Yeah. He will be what people got from Terrace Marshall last year. What could you have gotten Terrace Marshall for after in early in the offseason?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Not. Let's put it this way: nothing anywhere close to what his value.
You probably wouldn't have even had to give up a 25 second for him. You could probably been like, here's a few thirds once the rookie hype got.
Right.
You know what I mean? People forgot. I forgot about Terrace Marshall. It really took you being like, hey, don't sleep on Terrace Marshall. He's still a second-year wide receiver, 6'2", went to LSU. And then I was like, oh, yeah. It happens. So I think you make that deal. And then I think you circle back to Jahan Dotson later on.
Agreed. Yeah. Marshall's the guy that can give you something this season. Dotson is shaping up potentially to being Terrace Marshall this year. And then, you go back and get him on the cheap. Once Carson Wentz likely flounders and Washington is back to square one trying to figure out their quarterback situation, which might be good news for a guy like Dotson. So
I think it could be as long as they don't go to Sam Howell. We'll see.
No, I don't think they will. I really don't, because again, when you trade picks, including they gave up a 3rd round pick, which I know doesn't quite have the value of a 1st or 2nd round pick, but when a team trades picks to acquire a player, that player plays. And
I think Sam Howell, wasn't he a 4th or 5th rounder?
He was like a 5th or 6th round pick. I guess it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that he plays this year.
5th rounder, 501.
But it would take some unexpected circumstances, maybe not totally unexpected, but unexpected circumstances for that to take place.
Yeah. And that's Carson Wentz. Oh, he denied it. Oh man. All right.
It's a fair offer, to be honest.
Yeah. I was kind of hyped for UCXK. I was hoping he would have accepted that one.
That might be something. Well, let's see if Marshall fires early in the season. But if Dotson is off to a slow start, that might be something that you can revisit by
even
saying,
if
like,
Terrace Marshall's off to a slow start, picking up that 23 second is worth it.
Right.
And there's some recency bias that might play in there where you can make that deal happen. Even if you can't circle back and reacquire Dotson later on.
Right.
But again, Dynasty, the long game is there for you. Hunter L, best spot for redraft. Personally, I would say wherever I can be right next to Slim and
there you go. And take all his players.
Yeah, I think that's the best spot for redraft.
Got him.
I like being by the turn. If you can be, if you miss out on the first pick overall, because getting your pick of a Jonathan Taylor or CMC is kind of a cheat code. After that 101, I mean, my favorite place to be is the 112.
I like the turn. Personally, this year, I kind of like 3 or 4. I kind of like 3.
You can pick up one of them wide receivers you like?
Yeah, so like if I have 3, it forces the first 2 guys ahead of me to make the call between Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Cooper Kupp. And then if somebody takes Kupp in the top 2, I can get McCaffrey. But if the running backs go first and second, then I have my choice between Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson. And if I'm going to stay consistent with what I've been preaching this offseason, it would be Jefferson. But so I guess to that point, 4th, I kind of like the 4th pick this year, because then I don't have to make that choice.
Yeah.
Then it's like if the first 3 picks are Taylor, McCaffrey, Kupp, then I'll take the guy that I have as my wide receiver 1 anyway. If there are other people who are as bullish on Justin Jefferson as I am, then maybe Kupp slides to 4, or maybe even Christian McCaffrey slides to 4. So I would say the 4th pick is my favorite spot this year. 6th or 7th is the worst. Because even 5th overall, it's like, yeah, all right, I'll take Jamar Chase. 6th or 7th stinks, because then you have to decide if you want to continue the run of wide receivers that is likely to happen, or if you want to pivot to Austin Eckler, who has been a fantastic fantasy player several seasons running now. But we are expecting potentially a scaled back workload, which Eckler himself has asked for from the Chargers brass. Now, the glass half full with that would be, this is along Eckler's line of thinking, is he stays fresh and improves his chances of staying healthy for an entire season. Which at the end of the day, I prefer Eckler with 13 to 15 touches a game for 17 games than I do with Eckler for 10 games, but he's getting 20, 22 touches. I want a guy like Austin Eckler all season long. But you don't have that problem with Stephon Diggs or Devontae Adams. They're going to be on the field every play, and they're going to see 160 targets. So that's that spot in the draft where that's a decision where it's like, I don't feel like making that choice. I don't feel like making that call. So my favorite spot this year is probably 4. Like you mentioned, like the 10, 11, 12 area where I'm at the end of the first round and I can choose, I have my pick of the litter from the stud options, which probably includes Travis Kelce, which once again this year I have no problem taking at the 1-2 turn.
And even at that 3-4 turn, you're getting some real good players there at the 3-4 turn before a teardrop.
You might get ETN, you might get Zeke, you might get DJ Moore, you might get Terry McLaurin, who I'm totally fine with.
So that's why I do like that 112 turn there, but Yeah.
I would say 4th is my favorite spot this year because I will have my choice most likely between Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yo, Rojo, what's going on? I'm sorry to hear that. Oh man, can you reverse those? Hopefully they're good games, dude. Man.
Yeah, you have to teach him a lesson by playing all of the games through a couple of times for him to let him know if they're actually good or not. And if they're not,
he just your 3-year-old son just never gets a gaming system of his own for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life,
he has to play. Not the rest of his life, for the rest of his life under your roof. You know, that's a hell of a punishment.
He
has to play those.
How
many games are $3 and $4? You know, 160.
That's like 40 games.
Yeah,
it's like 30. That's 30 to 40 games.
Oh, just spilled water.
Well, there goes our connection.
Yeah, man,
he's got hit the fritz because
your son's got a lot of games to work his way through for the next, 15 years.
Actually, there's the punishment. Just be like, I'm locking you in the room until you finish every game. Every game. You can have a couple bathroom breaks a day. We'll leave some food outside of your room. He's 3 years old. He can't possibly comprehend any of this. He's got to play every game. He's got to play every single game. Maybe a couple times through.
To 100% completion.
Oh yeah, he's got 100.
Got to get all the trophies,
the entire thing, all the collectibles, all the side quests.
If there are even side quests in $3 and $4
probably not
games.
in these little apps. Nah, you have to talk to all the NPCs, the non-playable characters. You have to talk to all of them. Yeah, get that money's worth.
That is kind of funny though, man. I'm sorry, I have to say.
That's wild. But, I mean, yeah, it's easy for anybody else to laugh at, but if I had just lost $160 because I had a child not know what he was doing, I would also be a little triggered.
Exactly, Rojo. These are the only 40 games you can play for the rest of the time in my house.
You just
That's the punishment. I'm sorry you did this when you were 3 years old, but this is what you have to live with for the rest of your 15-year life under this roof until you leave and can buy your own PlayStation 11 at that time.
You allocated all of your games that you were allowed to have to one fell swoop.
Oh, man. Some pretty shitty games. Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. What is it? Candy Crush?
Spent $3 on Candy Crush. Good
40 times.
Or one of those stupid games that you're just scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and a random ad comes up about this game that looks like it's fun, but then you download it and it's like a completely different game. It's like, well, this wasn't what the advertisement made.
All the time.
The game look out
all the time. Yeah.
Probably those. Yeah. I don't know. Do you get like Settlers of Catan or something? At least that could be fun. I don't know if a 3-year-old knows how to play that game, but
Yo, Slim's nephew once purchased $200 worth of Paw Patrol.
Oh, holy hell.
Oh, man.
Isn't that a show?
I have no idea. All I know is it's $200 that you can't spend on best balls now. So,
well, yeah. What? How did that require a $200 purchase? It's a TV show. It's a kids show. Nephew's parents would have some explaining to do to me on that one.
Some splaining to do.
Explaining, yeah.
Yo, Brandon, thoughts on the Bears offense? I'm thinking of targeting Mooney, Montgomery, auction draft, half PPR.
I mean,
is this auction draft? So this is dynasty.
Could be. Yeah, is it or it could be. I mean, it could be redraft.
If it's dynasty, dude, I'm kind of staying away from every Bears player not named Fields.
So, I mean, as far as
Montgomery's going to get replaced maybe this season by Khalil Herbert, who was better last season on a per game basis. And
can Khalil Herbert like hold up? I don't know if he can take on an RB1
we'll
workload.
See, but I just don't know how much longer David Montgomery has.
I mean, he's 5'9". The thing with Herbert was what, like when he definitely flashed when Montgomery was out of the lineup, but the second Montgomery came back healthy, Khalil Herbert was an afterthought the entire season. Now that doesn't mean that that's going to stay the same as rookie or his second season.
Mismanaging the running back spot because he just put the on paper incumbent back in that spot, disregarding the fact that Khalil Herbert was very efficient on a per touch basis. And Darnell Mooney, we've spoken about it a few times on this live stream and other live streams in the past. I think he's going to get supplanted as the wide receiver 1 on this team by as soon as next year. Whether that's Deontay Johnson or rookie that they draft in the 2023 draft class. I think by the 2023 week 1, it's redraft? Okay.
It's redraft.
Well, then Darnell Mooney's a target.
Yeah,
because this year he's going to get a ton of targets.
He's going to get a ton of targets because, as you know, we can sit here and talk about how Mooney is maybe not necessarily somebody that we can pinpoint as a future wide receiver 1 for his team, much less a wide receiver 1 overall. But he's going to operate as the Bears wide receiver 1 last year, and there is nobody close from a talent perspective right now on this Bears offense close to Mooney. So out of necessity, he's going to get peppered with work. And he proved last year he can make some big plays. He's got some speed to his game. He should just come through with volume.
Darnell Mooney will be top 15 in targets.
Yeah.
I believe he was last year. I'm looking that up right now.
I think he was 13th.
There you go. Yeah.
I think he was 13th.
And that was with Allen Robinson. He's gonna be hyper targeted.
Yep.
Hyper targeted. It says here 11th. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wrong, or maybe I was seeing something else.
11th in targets last year. 140 targets. There's a chance that he does it again. Maybe gets even more.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do think it is a 1-year buy, so this is really a redraft situation here, but I'd be willing to spend up for Mooney this year.
Yeah, currently I've got him on like the low end. He's like he's on the low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 line, and I'm inclined to give him that little, benefit of the doubt and call him a low end wide receiver 2. The work is going to be there, and this Bears offense has nowhere to go but up after what they suffered through last season.
Yeah, he was 11th in targets last year and finished 27th in fantasy points per game. Okay. So he's not necessarily a big play guy, but he is a compiler that is going to get just as many targets as he did last year, if not maybe a little more. So he's a great cheap option to Rojo's point.
Yep.
Also in on Chris Evans. I am in on Chris Evans, especially if the Bengals switching teams. I know, but the Bengals move on from Samaje Perine. But back to this David Montgomery situation. If it's redraft,
I'm fine with Montgomery this year.
Yeah, he's probably one of the cheaper options at the running back position.
As far as guys like who have done it before, yeah, I mean his ADP is around 50. I think it's closer to 51 if we're going to be super specific. But I mean, you want to talk about this Bears offense being devoid of pass catching talent. That could just mean that David Montgomery picks up the slack in that regard. He can do it as a pass catcher. Maybe he's not the best pass catching running back in the league, but he's certainly capable. If the Bears wide receiver 2 is a competition between Byron Pringle and N'Keal Harry, you can't tell me that David Montgomery can't catch 50 balls. Or at least 40.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with an ADP around 50, let me just check the other guys that are going around him. He's certainly viable because this year, and if anybody cares to check out the draft plan, I'll just share a quick little tidbit. I'm bullish on, targeting wide receivers early and attacking the run. The running back dead zone this year in redraft is optimal, and that also translates, Brandon, to auction as well. Auction dollars ultimately there's a translation between auction dollars you spend and a redraft draft capital of each pick. The value running backs this year that are going in that range are viable this year. So let me just take a quick look at like the guys that are kind of going around David Montgomery in that kind of like 50 ADP range. I guess between him and like Breece Hall, I'd rather have the younger, fresher legs.
I mean, we are talking about auction, so it is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the idea of some of the value, like
But people don't like Montgomery. People like Hall.
Yeah, they like Hall. They're gonna.
So that
like
I don't know
Dobbins.
if the ADP comparison really will match up here. I think people are down on. People are going to be down on Montgomery because it's Montgomery, and he isn't a very exciting running back.
Yeah,
but if you have him as your RB2 and you spend $35 fab bucks on him in your auction.
I guess it depends on the amount of money you have and what the allotment is that makes the most sense for your league and how many auction dollars you have and all that good stuff. I do think I'll look at ADP and correlate it to depending on what my budget is for auction. I do factor that in. I don't know how many other people do it, but I mean the next running back for argument's sake that's going after Montgomery is J.K. Dobbins, who is going about 6 or 7 spots later. It wouldn't surprise me in an auction for Dobbins to be more expensive than Montgomery. And then at that point, relative to ADP, Montgomery's a value. So, yeah, I mean, he's going as the RB20 off the board. So he's firmly being selected as an RB2, lower end RB2, but he still should be the guy who gets 65, 67, maybe 70% of the work in this backfield. So, yeah, I think he's viable for 2022.
Yeah, so both of those guys should be targets. Cole Kmet could be a target for you too if you're looking for a depth tight end.
Full bear stack. I don't know if I want to. I don't know how much I want to. I don't know if I want to invest that much into one offense, especially one that is on the come up, but not one of the premier proven offenses.
There are worse second wide receivers to get on your squad.
Yeah,
my point.
But Montgomery, I would say, maybe he carries the ball 200 times this year and catches 50 to 60 balls. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all.
I would. He's not catching that many balls. Alex, yesterday
Montgomery?
I traded.
Catch 50 to 60.
He can. Will he?
40
Probably
to 50.
Not. Probably
he can
not.
do 40 to 50.
Because there aren't going to be that many passes attempts to go around in that offense. Not with the dual.
There's not that much talent in that offense. That's the thing. Yeah, it might not be a high octane passing offense, but there's nobody else. That's
but still, 60 targets is a lot. Even Mixon had sub 50 catches last year.
Well, the Bengals had wide receivers that were worth throwing the ball to. The Bears don't.
All right, yeah. Alex, yesterday I traded my 2024 second for the 301, the 303, and the 306. And then today I traded the 301 and the 307 for somebody else's 24 second plus a third. All right, hey, that's wheeling and dealing, man. That's wheeling and dealing. That's a win.
That's playing that 3D chess there.
Yes, sir.
You love to see it.
Good to see you, Alex.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Where we at?
Yeah, nicely done. Slim's asking about offenses to stack. Or the best, cheapest offense to stack. The cheapest offense to stack. I don't know why this is the first team that comes to my mind, but like Jacksonville comes to mind because you can get ETN around the 3-4 turn. You can get Christian Kirk 85 picks into a draft, and you can get Trevor Lawrence like 120 picks into a draft.
Honestly, the Packers.
Stack, cheapest stack. Yeah,
the Packers. They got to be one of the cheaper stacks out there.
Rodgers, Lazard, Tunyon. Maybe one of the running backs.
And Dylan. Yeah. The Steelers, maybe don't go after Deontay.
I don't know if
But
I want the Steelers
Trubisky,
stack.
Claypool, Freiermuth.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that.
Cheapest
I mean,
offense.
it's certainly
cheapest
cheap.
offense. If that's the criteria,
it's certainly
cheapest
cheap.
offense. The Jags are 1-2 for sure.
Trying to think who else.
The Saints, yep. Rojo squad.
Saints are a very cheap stack that I do
The
actually like.
Patriots.
You can get Olave 100 picks in. You can get Winston even later than
The
that.
Patriots, Mac Jones. Getting really no buzz right now.
Yeah.
You can get Jacoby Myers in what, the 12th round?
Yeah,
10th, 12th round.
110 picks or so into the draft. Yeah.
Hunter Henry, yeah, you can. That's a cheap stack.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably the Saints.
Damian
is the
Harris,
one that I would...
yeah, you could get all. You can get Damian Harris, who it's probably one of the cheapest number 1 running backs in the league.
Yeah. I would probably vouch for the Saints as the best combo of best cheapest stacks, because Jameis is a former 5,000-yard passer who can be had 150 picks into the draft. Olave can be had 100 picks in the draft. Even Alvin Kamara, his ADP has slipped to the 3rd round because of concerns about the legal situation. I mean, you can get Kamara in the 3rd, Olave 100 picks in, Jarvis Landry's probably going around 120 or so, and then Jameis 150 spots in. That would be the offense that I would say I feel most confident about as far as like a best cheap stack, top to bottom. Probably the Saints. That would be my vote.
But there are a bunch of cheap offenses to stack.
Yeah. Yeah. As far and with Adams and Carr, I mean, it's hard. You need to have the right pick because Adams is going at the end of the 1st round. So if you have a top 5 pick, you're not getting that stack, you know.
But to your point at the beginning of this stream, Hunter Renfrow, Carr and Renfrow,
and Waller. I'll throw
Jacobs.
Throw Waller in there. Waller in the 4th, or Waller in the 4th. Jacobs in the 6th. Carr wherever the hell he's going. It's not late, or it's not early. And Renfrow, yeah, 80 picks into a draft. So yeah, that one's definitely viable.
Tampa Bay, I don't know if that's a cheap.
That
stack.
one's not. I mean,
you do have to pay up relatively for Gage at this point. You do have to pay up for Evans. You do have to pay up for Fournette. I don't know if Cade Otton or Cameron Brate are the stacks at tight end that I'm really looking for.
Yeah. I would probably not do that. I mean, I guess the last one I would say is the Jets. You can get Brees in the 4th. You can get Elijah Moore in the 6th. You can get Garrett Wilson later than Olave. I think he's going 115, 120 picks into a draft. And then Zach Wilson's ADP is like 172. And I am higher on Wilson than the consensus is. So, I mean, and Corey Davis is free. So that one is an option as well.
And just my last team I'm going to throw out there as far as dead cheap, the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tannehill,
Ryan Tannehill is
Hooper,
off the radar.
Robert Woods. You
Burks.
can get the number 1 wide receiver, the number 1 tight end, and the QB for peanuts.
Yeah.
Might not be the greatest week to week, but if you're looking for the cheapest, you'd be hard pressed to find a cheaper stack of those elements in a offense. The number 1 wide receiver, number 1 tight end, quarterback.
Yeah. Yep.
Lots of stacks. 32.
Lots of stacks. Well,
not cheap
yeah.
ones, but yes.
Not cheap, but yeah. So, yeah, Jags, Saints, Patriots isn't too hard to build. There's a few. Who else did you mention?
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots aren't too hard to build. Titans are dirt cheap.
Cleveland.
I was going to say the Browns. All of their ADPs have now have plummeted enough.
Cheap stacks.
Yeah. Another guy I didn't realize I was as interested in as I think I actually should be is Amari Cooper. His ADP is approaching 70. What do bad backup quarterbacks do? They hyper target their wide receiver ones. There's nobody else in this Browns passing offense that is close to as good as Amari Cooper.
Yeah, think Cooper Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks last year. Look at the target share that Brandon Cooks was working with.
That one's dirt cheap
too. You can kind of say that the Browns under Brisket should kind of mirror that in terms of the target disparate.
Yeah, he should hyper-target Cooper.
Yeah.
And then he's got Hunt. Chubb's ADP is lower than it was last year. Yeah. Take a shot on Donovan Peoples-Jones. Take a shot on I don't know how many Browns I want with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I don't know how many players I want to stack there, but
Chubb and Cooper would be fine. Maybe Hunt too. Yeah, Cooper with an ADP near 70. That's a buy. He should get. It might not be a good quality of targets, but there's going to be a lot of them.
Speaking of quality of targets, Slim wants to know why Gabe Davis is getting all this buzz. Man, I think it's pretty simple. They didn't really add anybody of consequence to the offense. They elevated Gabe Davis to number 2 in that offense, and the number 2 wide receiver for Josh Allen has historically, outside of last year when they were relying on a 35-year-old Emmanuel Sanders, has yielded you fantasy results. Going back to Stephon Diggs and Smokey Brown. Smokey!
I love Smokey Brown. Always have. With Gabe, yeah, I mean, you pretty much already touched on it, but
is he worth his current ADP? That is the question.
So originally I said no. I'm warming up to it being worth it, though. And here's why. It's not just the fact that the last time we saw him, he scored 4 touchdowns in a game. It's to the point that John just brought up. He got promoted to a starter attached to the best fantasy quarterback in the NFL. Cole Beasley's gone. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. And Davis is still only like 23 years old. It's just the reason his ADP is so high is everybody has pegged him as a bona fide breakout player this year. He's young. He's talented. He's got a huge opportunity in front of him. And he's attached to the most pass-happy offense in the league. I am officially, the ADP is like 45, which is insane. It's ahead of DK Metcalf. It's ahead of Allen Robinson. So maybe like those are 2 names that I would still prefer to have just based on their pedigree.
Yes.
But
I would.
But Gabe has, as far as maybe guys, it's not unproven, that's not the right word, but just guys who haven't consistently done it year in, year out yet to warrant this type of attention. I don't know that there's anybody better to project breaking out given their circumstances than Gabe Davis, and that's why his ADP is so high. And the more I think about it, the more in on that I am.
Yeah, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders had 72 targets last year. Gabe Davis had 63. And Gabe Davis should be playing the Emmanuel Sanders / Gabe Davis role full time. So he has a chance to get over 100 targets. He had the 8th highest average target distance. So he is a big play wide receiver in a very good high-scoring offense who could have a chance to double up on the targets that he's gotten over the past 2 seasons.
Yep.
And that's the best way that I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
He's never going to have an elite target share unless Stephon Diggs gets injured, which is only one wide receiver, one injury away.
Yeah.
Which is just another feather in his cap. But, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to like Gabe Davis. The ADP might be getting out of control.
It's a little crazy, but also...
But it's also kind of warranted.
It tells you what everybody thinks about him. ADP is not just like some dude throwing darts at the board. You know, it's like it's a result of thousands and thousands of results, you know, manifesting into like this is what the consensus believes in. So kind of tells you what everybody thinks about the guy. And the reasons for liking him are warranted.
115 targets for John Brown in the same role.
Yeah, he should get that.
When John Brown was the number 2 wide receiver.
And Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen yet.
Right.
Like he looked like he was coming up, but he wasn't Josh Allen yet. Now it's like those 115 targets are higher quality on a per play basis. Yeah, Rojo, I agree. Even McKenzie, I want a piece of this Bills pie any opportunity I can get.
I would rather have Jamison Crowder than Isaiah McKenzie.
I don't know that I agree. I'm not off of Crowder, but McKenzie is younger and doesn't have the hamstring history that Crowder comes with. We never project injuries. We never chart out injuries, but
they did everything in their power not to use Isaiah McKenzie outside of the one game where they absolutely had to, which is what gives me pause. He's 27.
Well, they still had... Okay, he's a little older than I thought. I mean, they still had Cole Beasley in the mix. You know, I guess they still had I don't know if they were still utilizing Emmanuel Sanders ahead of him, but I mean, you trade 2 guys for 1, those 2 guys being Sanders and Beasley for Crowder. Somebody's got to step up in 4 receiver sets, right? The Bills are going to run 4 wide. It's what they do all the time.
Jamison Crowder quietly was number 1 in route win rate last year. Jamison Crowder is good. The issue with Jamison Crowder is whether or not he can stay healthy for 16 games. But when he's on the field, he is a much better bet for McKenzie. So in a vacuum, considering they probably cost around the same in your dynasty leagues because of Crowder being, 29 years old, I think I would rather have Crowder because age shouldn't really factor in here. They played Cole Beasley heavily up until he was 32.
Yeah.
And Jamison Crowder, I believe he is there on a 2-year deal. So this is not a 1-year Band-Aid. They wouldn't have given Jamison Crowder that contract if they had faith in Isaiah McKenzie. I like Isaiah McKenzie, but I would rather have Jamison Crowder because Jamison Crowder is the better player.
I'll take any one of these guys.
Okay.
I'll take any one of these guys. Maybe not Khalil Shakir. He's a developmental prospect, but Crowder's ahead of McKenzie on the depth chart, and the money they paid to him lends credence to wanting Crowder. But like the Bills are going to run four receiver personnel all the time.
Crowder is 1 year removed from 14.3 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not trying. I guess I'm fine with saying I'll take Crowder. I'll take them both.
I'm just saying at cost, considering you'd probably only have to throw maybe another 4th to get Crowder over McKenzie. Maybe McKenzie's free. McKenzie's probably free. You can probably pick up McKenzie.
He's outside the top 200.
McKenzie's probably free. Crowder is probably free too.
Crowder, relative to what he has done, is free. I think his ADP is in the 170.
I would much rather have Crowder because Crowder comes in and is Cole Beasley plus. Because I think Crowder is a better athlete than Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley has just been slightly healthier over the past 3.
Yeah.
Call me somebody who just likes Crowder more than he should. I would go Crowder for sure over McKenzie. Not really even close for me.
137 ADP. The consensus agrees. Yeah, should be fine.
I think McKenzie is a year away from being on the Giants.
Okay. Well, he's got a chance to put up some games here and there this year, just by being a part of that offense.
My whole point is just don't sleep on Crowder.
Okay.
Don't sleep on Crowder. Number one in route win rate last year with Zach Wilson, and the year before that was averaging 14.3 fantasy points per game with Sam Darnold. And if you think he can't do better than that with Josh Allen, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I actually have to run somewhat soon. So I'm happy to continue going through this chat, but I do have more travel in store for me this week. So actually a good opportunity to let people know I will not be available for Wednesday's members only stream or Thursday's general stream. I got yet another bachelor party to attend this weekend. Every single person I know in my entire life is getting married this year. So I have to be a part of their festivities.
Everybody held off for COVID, and now it's time to get it done,
everybody held off for COVID, and the people who didn't are having their weddings this year as well. So it's just like when it rains, it pours. So I do got to wrap this up shortly. Happy to continue answering questions in the chat, but I personally might need to cut it a little short coming up here in the next like 10 or 15 minutes or so. And then, John, I guess you can make a call if you want to bring it home if there are more questions, or just or call it before.
Yeah, I'll finish out the questions in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Let's do a couple more. But then I do need to run. Unfortunately,
Rojo traded away Lamar Jackson.
I'm looking forward to.
Ooh, Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley for Matt Stafford, DeAndre Hopkins, Sony Michel, 25 first and second.
Yeah, okay. So this was talked about in the Discord.
Okay.
I believe I was fine with this because Rojo's got, I think, a top 2 or 3 team in his league. Lamar is awesome, but it's not. It's a drop off going from Lamar to Stafford, but it's not a significant drop off going from Lamar to Stafford. You pick up an awesome stash in DeAndre Hopkins. And Rojo's got the receivers to withstand the weight on Hopkins until week 7. And you pick up a first-round pick down the line.
And Stafford isn't going anywhere. He's only 34. He's not a Matt Ryan type where he's 3 years older than Stafford is right now. Stafford
he's got
is
probably
only 34.
He's got 5 or 6 years left. He's got 5 or 6 years left. Which I hate to say it. That might be how much time Lamar has left too. I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope we have Lamar for another 10 years, but his style of play lends to an increased chance of injury, which happened last year.
Right.
So you go from Lamar to Stafford, you pick up Hopkins, who I would say, you compete with this year and then maybe try to move him next year, because he is going to be 31 next year. And you get a first and a second round pick out of this, and running back depth in Sony Michel. I was fine with this move.
And honestly, depending on when D-Hop comes back, how the rest of your depth chart looks. Now, I didn't see this deal and what the rest of your team looks like on the Discord, but you might be able to sell Hopkins this year and just keep it moving. You really might. But that's
gotta wait till week 7 though.
Yeah. That's up to you, though. Yeah, I don't hate that.
But
At first, you see Lamar Jackson traded, you think, why would you do that? But yeah, I think it's a forward-thinking move there.
For that return, I was good with it, and still am. I'm still good with that.
Being able to get even more draft capital when you divest yourself of Hop.
Yeah.
Stafford being a top 10 fantasy quarterback for the next few seasons. Getting Sony Michel, who we are not high on, but we both like as a value at running back this year.
He's solid depth.
And the 25 first and second. It's always good to pick up first and seconds. So I don't hate that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that.
CXK, Jahan Dotson or Chase Claypool? Claypool owner has McLaurin, so I figured why not have the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 on the same team, and he also has Wentz. You have Pickett, so you got that stack then if you do pick up Claypool, and you like Claypool more than Jahan Dotson. They're 1 year apart in age, I believe. And according to Claypool, he is a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL.
Well, I mean, every player, every professional athlete they have to say that they feel like they're the best. What are they going to say? No, I'm like the 20th best player. I mean, and that's the type of question that a guy like Claypool should probably be avoiding right now. But regardless, I guess it's good to have confidence. It is good. Not I guess it is good to have confidence. I am not giving up on Claypool. I know he had a down season relative to expectations last year, but and some of that can be attributed to Claypool. He had some bonehead plays. He had some, he
some
had
growing
it seemed
pains,
like he had
man.
some
He has some room to grow.
Got some room to grow. His athletic profile is still awesome. That didn't
Elite.
change. Yeah. And I mean, he gets a quarterback upgrade because last year Roethlisberger was burnt toast and couldn't throw deep anymore. And so Claypool's numbers suffered as a result. I know any combination of Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett maybe doesn't instill a ton of confidence, but for the sake of talking about Chase Claypool, it's an upgrade. It's an improvement. So I got to give a slight edge to the proven commodity. As much as I like Dotson, we are high on Dotson's upside moving forward. I have to give the slight edge to Claypool. If you can do Dotson for Claypool straight up, I would take the shot on Claypool because, again, John just got done talking a little while ago about how you might be able to reacquire Dotson on the cheap if he struggles coming out of the gate, which we're now almost kind of more expecting because Terry McLaurin is firmly back in the mix and Carson Wentz has never supported a wide receiver 2 for fantasy.
And RAS is not everything for wide receivers, but there is some sort of correlation there. If you are a member, you can go and check out the definitive wide receiver RAS video that we put out strictly for the members as the second members only video on the channel. Chase Claypool's RAS comps. He has an RAS of 9.98 for wide receivers. His RAS comps at the wide receiver position: Calvin Johnson, Vincent Jackson, Andre Johnson, DK Metcalf. Those are the top 4 RAS athletic, size-adjusted athleticism comps for Chase Claypool.
So all is not lost despite the fact that he had a down year last year.
The 5th comp is a guy named Matt Jones from 2005.
He was that guy. He was a quarterback in college. He converted to wide receiver. It didn't work out.
That's not a name that I remember. But then again, I was not watching football in 2005.
You weren't watching back in 2005. You were doing other stuff. I don't even know what that might have been.
I was overseas.
Yeah, you were overseas.
Did not have access to
You were
NFL
overseeing other stuff. Hey. Got him. So, yeah, all is not lost with Claypool. And if I can get Claypool for Jahan Dotson, I think I would do that deal.
I think so, too.
Because, again,
and you got the stack.
We're a little concerned that we like Dotson. We're a little concerned Dotson might not fire this year. But then you can just reacquire him on the cheap. But we like Dotson moving forward.
We do. And despite being a senior in college, coming out as a senior and not as a junior, not being an early declare, he is only 22 right now. So he's still, by the time Terry McLaurin's contract is up, and Terry McLaurin's 30 years old looking for a new contract, he will be 25 years old.
So there you go.
So, yeah.
We think Dotson's going to be good, but maybe not right away just because he's a victim of a less than ideal circumstance for just him.
It also depends on the type of wide receiver that you prioritize. Do you prioritize the alpha wide receiver who dominates on the outside, contested catch type receiver, or do you prioritize the shiftier, speedier, jack of all trades wide receiver, which Jahan Dotson's game more resembles? So depends there too.
True. But yeah, I'll give the slight edge to Claypool for now. CXK. So yeah. Slim, appreciate it. It's not a wedding yet. This is a bachelor party, but I will be back I'm actually going to Pittsburgh, starting way early tomorrow. So I got to get some stuff in order for tonight, which includes dropping the dog off at his sitter. But the bachelor party's this weekend. The wedding is in October, but that's not even the last wedding that I have. I got another one at the end of August. Again, to a PSA to all of my friends, stop getting married, and my family. But anyway, no. I'm happy
yo, Rojo, look at those wide receivers.
Everybody.
You're adding D-Hop too. That's crazy. Even if Michael Thomas doesn't
you're good.
come back this year,
you're good.
I mean, hedging your bets with D-Hop, having Olave, having Landry.
Yeah. You got Chase and Evans to lean on. We'll see if Michael Thomas comes back. Yeah, Olave and Landry will be guys that you can rely on week one. And then, you get a shot in the arm with Hopkins in the middle of the season. I'm good. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and you got 3 2025 firsts, but you still have Chase, Javonte, Chase and Devontae as stalwarts on your squad. Zamir White should be the number one in that offense by that point in time. Olave should be the number one in his offense by that time. Dotson and Pickens and Sky should have realized their potential and have a chance to be the number one or number two wide receivers in their offense by that time.
At least a couple of them, yeah.
So, yeah, man, I think even with the fact that you might have to rebuild in a few seasons, I mean, your rebuild should be a quick turnaround for sure.
It could be a retool, and not so much a rebuild, which is good. That's what you want. Set yourself up to have to retool, but not rebuild. But
yo, Slim, I appreciate you mentioning Jelani Woods in this stream.
Take a shot for any time Jelani Woods comes up.
That was the game for a while. It was take a shot whenever John mentions RAS. It's been a minute.
They're gonna black out play in that game.
Hey,
but and Mo Alley Cox also made my my target at tight end that I am going after in my draft plan with an ADP like around 205, which is ridiculous. So
yeah.
Wheels up on the Colts tight ends.
You don't get Andrews. You don't get Pitts. Wait until you pick up those Mo Alley Coxes, the Everetts, the Tunyons, and reap the benefits there.
Yep.
For sure.
All those details are in the draft plan, which, again, the members will be receiving this week. Should be plenty of information in there to hopefully navigate through redraft, whether you play one quarterback or super flex. It's geared primarily toward one quarterback drafts, but I sprinkle in plenty of tidbits of what I would do in a super flex league as well. So yeah, be on the lookout for that.
That'll be dropping for y'all members. That'll be dropping for y'all members tomorrow. We're just gonna doing a little formatting first.
I'm gonna spiff it up a little bit.
Yeah. But what were you saying?
Yeah, gonna spiff it up a little bit. Just that I gotta. So I have to actually wrap it up. I do have to go. I am on a bit of a time crunch. With the rest of my evening. I wish I could stay a little bit longer, but duty calls. So I don't know. Are you going to stick around for a little bit longer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick around for. I mean, if everybody has or anybody has any more questions, I'll stick around. If not, I probably will shut it down. But it all depends on the questions that come in. So it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys. But Nick, have a good time on your trip.
Appreciate
it. Enjoy the bachelor party, And we'll see you next week, man.
Yep, I will be back next Tuesday. I get like a month or so break from having to take any trips, so you guys will see me all through the rest of July and into August.
Then I'm taking a trip, so you're gonna have to fill in for me.
I can hold it down.
But in between the 23rd and the 30th.
But the 27th is when I'm traveling for a wedding myself. We'll figure it out. Right. We got a month. We got a month to sort it out. But yeah, stay tuned on that. Appreciate you guys as always. Sounds like John's going to stick around for a couple more minutes just to see if there's anything else anybody wants to talk through. As always, love hanging out with you guys and talking shop. Honestly, looking forward to getting back next Tuesday and doing it again. So everybody have a great week. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you guys a little in a week from now.
Sounds good, man.
All right. See ya.
Peace. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can fix this. Y'all give me a sec. All right. Might not be able to do this on the fly, or at least have the video all work and you're just gonna see half of my face cut off and deal with it. But if anybody has any more questions, I will stick around for a little bit longer and answer any more questions y'all have. As always, we got a members only stream tomorrow, so all y'all members come through tomorrow and chill with me tomorrow. And I'm thinking tomorrow we talk about a re-ranking of the rookies for 2022, because a lot has happened since the draft. You know, players like Olave have moved up draft charts. Players like Treylon Burks have fallen down draft rankings. As for the running backs, I mean, players like, we were down on Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller has technically moved up draft charts. Even players we were high on, like Rachaad White, now looks to be getting a more of a chance year one than previously thought. So that is going to be the subject for tomorrow. So come through then. For all y'all who aren't members, the link to become a member, if you are interested on being a member of our channel on any tier, is the first link in any video that we have put out over the past year, including this one, any live streams as well. So you can click on that, check out some of the perks that include early access to Nick's redraft draft kit. So you'll be able to do that, but it's not limited just to that. You get one-on-ones with us to go over your dynasty teams or even your redraft teams and what decisions you can make for your redraft teams in season. And of course, dynasty teams, it applies to any time in season or off season. You also get the chance to draft with us and play in leagues with us. And y'all get one more stream a week from us on Wednesdays. So if y'all are interested in that, definitely check out that link. If that doesn't interest you, but you want to just stay a little bit more keyed into what we're doing here, you can join our Discord channel. The Discord channel is the second link in any of the videos that we put out over the past year, including this live stream. So you can join our Discord for free. But as an extra perk for being a member, you get access to our members only Discord, which gives you a little bit more access to us. But yeah, that's just an overview of what we got going on as far as what we offer y'all for outside of just the public streams that we have Tuesday and Thursday 6 p.m. EST. Y'all already know. Rojo, got one more question here. Which rookie running back do you think has more value for this upcoming season? TDP, Tyler Algiers, Dameon Pierce, Zamir White. I mean, for this upcoming season, it's tough. It's not Zamir White. TDP has a chance because Kyle Shanahan has used a different running back as his running back one for the past 4 seasons, I believe. So if we're to believe that stat will continue, then the next running back who will be getting a shot is either TDP or Trey Sermon, and you can write Trey Sermon off. TDP has 3rd-round draft capital. Gotta like that. But he does have competition in Elijah Mitchell, and the QB is just a question mark. That said, there's a QB question mark for each of the other 2 running backs that you have listed behind him. There are question marks for Marcus Mariota / Desmond Ridder, for Tyler Algier, but he does have the clearest path to playing time. It's either him or Dameon Pierce, because the competition for Algier is Damian Williams and Cordell Patterson and Kadre Olison. I don't even know if Kadre Olison's still on the team. It might just be Cordell Patterson and Damian Williams. The competition for Dameon Pierce is a little bit tougher. It's Marlon Mack coming back from an Achilles injury, and Rex Burkhead and Royce Freeman, for whatever that's worth. But Dameon Pierce kind of reminds me of, in terms of his rushing style, of a Chris Carson. So I will say that. I don't really have comps for the other guys. I don't really have a comp for Zamir White or TDP or Tyler Algier. But my comp in terms of running style, not overall efficiency, not what his fantasy ceiling is, but running style for Dameon Pierce is Chris Carson, because I believe he'll come into the NFL and be one of the most violent rushers in the league from week 1. Now, those rushers tend to have a shelf life. I mean, we just saw Chris Carson pick up a neck injury, and there's a chance he never plays again. So there is that. But if you're looking for who has the value for the upcoming season, it's really hard to say. And Rojo, you might have to come back tomorrow for my definitive answer on this. Right now, I'm going to say Tyler Algier has the least competition, but plays in one of the least enticing offenses to chase. And then I'd say it's TDP and Dameon Pierce. They're all kind of just in this bubble. It's not Zamir White. And Slim and Rojo, do we have enough to start a league yet? We do. Nick and I just need to set aside time to do it when Nick isn't traveling and I'm not traveling. So it will come, obviously, before the beginning of the season. But you guys are probably going to have to wait a few weeks for Nick to get done with traveling and for me to get done with traveling. I got one trip coming up. And, I might be able to swing one day in there where I'm going to be available to hang with you guys, but it really depends. It really depends how things work out. So we will see, but we are definitely excited to start up this redraft league with y'all, and in the future, definitely excited to explore zombie leagues, guillotine leagues, and dynasty leagues with our members for sure. But I think that wraps it up. We don't have too many other questions. Again, Rojo, I will address that question more thoroughly tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to chilling with y'all members tomorrow. So thanks, everybody, for chilling with us. Thanks, everybody, for all your questions, throwing them in the chat and all that. Much appreciated. And I will see you tomorrow. Nick will see you next week. And for everybody that isn't a member, I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for chilling, y'all.